Hi everyone, welcome. What you see here is just an interesting arrangement of some of the stuff we're going to use to feed today. The rest of the stuff we're using is over here. So basically we've got water, which I don't know if we're going to use. We're going to, use that if we feel we need it. But last time we definitely poured a bunch of water in both systems. And then this is my worm chow, usually included with feedings of coffee to dress it up. And in this case, the only place I can dress things up or be creative is with the bedding, because this system is the coffee only system, the mixed red worms on day 200. So we've just reached 200 days of age here, and these systems were really due for being the next to be fed a few days ago, but I pushed off their check-in today to make the check-in after 16 days land on day 200 in service. So congratulations. Now all this green stuff over here, most of what I've showed you so far is pretty routine stuff, but this stuff over here is something I've not yet experimented with, but we're going to start today. It's not so true to say that I've not yet experimented with it, because I actually have a little experimental time lapse running now for over a week where I threw a couple of these little packing peanuts into a worm bin to see how the worms react to it. I was told during the holidays when this stuff was in a package, in a gift, a Christmas gift, that this was actually a compostable, biodegradable packing peanut. And the little time lapse I have going shows that these things have eroded down to about half their size, but I'm pretty sure that the only reason that that's happening is because of the moisture. I've been putting a couple ice cubes next to each of the packing peanuts in that time lapse scenario on a daily basis, creating a nice moist environment that's causing the worms to come up for the moisture, but it's also causing, I believe, the packing peanuts to gradually dissolve. I was curious to see what would happen if I were to just drop a couple of these into water, and I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was only a couple days. I think by yesterday most of the stuff had already dissolved. So I don't think that in the time lapse it's so much the worms consuming the packing peanuts. I think it's mostly just the moisture is causing them to break down. But it is funny watching these things roll around as the worms come up for the moisture. Perhaps they're taking a little nibble on it to give it a taste. Who knows? Yeah, let's get to checking in. In the coffee only system, like I said, I've got latitude for dressing up the coffee only feeding with my worm chow. And for a coffee only bin, what you would expect to find is nothing but very fine materials, right? Perhaps the biggest stuff would be residue of beddings that have been used in the past, such as these leaf stems and leaf fragments. And at day 200, I'm seriously doubting that we would use leaves anymore at this point. A lot of systems at this age are already approaching a point in time where we would start to want to get them geared up for migrating the worms out of this stuff. And a big part of that gearing up is just to let the material break down to a nice fine quality that there's very little residue in it. So let's see. Feeding zone indicator. A pumpkin stem. Even though coffee was the only stuff fed in here over the past 13 feedings, since there have been 15 feedings overall so far, those first 2 feedings didn't even know about the coffee only idea yet. That was just a little brainstorm brewing in my head. So the first 2 feedings did include stuff other than coffee. So feeding number 3 was where we decided to transition them to what we're doing now. And a lot of the things that they're working on here are the sorts of things that can take a tremendous amount of time. I can tell from the shape of this, it's got this little arced shape to it, and the telltale surface features of a piece of corn. This is like a piece of mango seed husk, really breaking apart. Every time you touch a piece of it, it just chips off. It won't even be recognizable as what it is or was soon. So these are the leftovers, including the feeding zone indicator, which I guess we're going to try to use one more time. But I've got a feeling if I can properly predict what this is going to look like once I give them their food and their bedding, that feeding zone indicator is going to be a little redundant, because the way I thought I'd be setting up the feeding today is going to be pretty distinct, so that the next time we come back in here, who knows when, a couple weeks from now or so, we should have no problem figuring out where we last fed. Okay, the last time we came in here, the whole system was coated in leaves across the whole top surface, and we spent some time during the last check-in making sure that that stuff was all blended in nicely. I can still see bits and pieces of it still remaining, so it does still feel like I'm contributing by blending the stuff in, and just by aerating too. I get this sense that capacity-wise, perhaps one of the key reasons we didn't go too crazy adding bedding last time. I think we went super minimal on the application of bedding last time. Yeah, I think even the name of the video made reference to very little bedding added, but a lot of moisture added. So here in bin number 2, I'm thinking let's try to achieve the same thing we just did in bin number 1 by collecting up all the large chunks we're going to try to bring back together at the end and put into the middle of the feeding area. But all the other stuff is just going to get a quick aeration, and this is I guess my chance to assess moisture. It's definitely feeling to me like both systems would benefit from another generous dumping of water, and I do wonder sometimes if it could just be the could it just be the bubble wrap that's allowing for a good deal of moisture to be lost around the edges and underneath the surface with the bubbles facing down. There's those little air gaps in between each bubble. So, I don't know. Not to mention the fact that the foods that they're getting, coffee is just generally a non-juicy food. We're giving them all kinds of stuff like watermelon and pretty much anything. Vegetable matter, fruit matter, all very moisture-rich stuff. Whereas the coffee is just, ground down beans that have very, very little moisture content to them. Yeah, I would have to say that probably one of the main reasons for not adding bedding was not that we're like foraging here yet or anything like that, was probably more because of just the level. Once everything gets aerated and fluffed up, it all feels like we're so close to the edge, the top of the rim of each container, that I feel compelled to add virtually no bedding once again, except for the star of the show. The weird packing peanuts are going to be the bedding today, because you can't label them as food if they're not coffee, right? But I mean, if it's true that they're made out of some sort of I have no idea what they're made out of. I don't know why corn somehow comes to mind. Could it be corn? Alright, so I wanted to just, and I don't have that much. I got to remember that I only grabbed one good heaping handful for each system, so we're only going to get a little sprinkling. So I might have gone overboard here with trying to create a place for this stuff to be resting. So let's just sort of simulate a similar arrangement here with just a little bit of a recess into which our bedding and food will be placed. It does seem like I'm following a theme lately. Even last time I announced how I wanted to feed closer to the surface, and in multiple other feedings lately over the past couple of weeks, I feel like I've been following suit with that thinking, is to get the food in, but not worry so much about excavating or submerging. It's really more about, it's really just more about trying to more closely simulate what the worms encounter in nature, which is their food source pretty much being on the surface. So weird how I don't know if it's the moisture on my glove or something, but something's causing these little things to stick to me. Interesting. So Obviously, they're not going to be good for protecting something that has any sort of moisture content because they're just going to dissolve away and you'll have no no protection to offer any cushioning. But as long as they're being used to protect something dry, I think we're going to be a-okay. And last time we complemented the coffee with some almond flour. Almond flour is one of the ingredients in the worm chow, but there's also a couple other things in here too. So that was perhaps a little more generous than I expected to be, but that's okay. What an interesting feeding. And you know, I think what we actually talked about was not retiring these feeding zone indicators quite yet, because they are still a single piece, so even though they're weathered, we wouldn't want to shortchange them of a long, illustrious career in service. So as long as they're still holding together as a single object, let's keep them around just for one more feeding cycle. I suspect that by next time we may not so easily find them. Making me wonder if I even had one over here. I can't remember. But we're not going to fiddle with it. We're just going to leave it at that. And this is interesting. It'd be so cool if I had some sort of a camera peering down onto this system over the next interval between the next feeding, because I wonder what the activity under here is going to be like. The material is translucent enough to show motion, but maybe not detail. And you know, by having it over here on the shelf behind me, I almost forgot, but I think we need to come back in here just for one more second to drop in another little portion of moisture, and that might even be a bit more than we added last time. But it's stuff that I think is going to go to good use. It's going to recirculate to some degree, get captured, and drop back down as long as it's under the plastic. I know some of it will be evaporating around the edges, and that's sort of unavoidable when you're using this sort of a cover. We'd always have the option to change, but I think we're going to stick with it. We're okay. So that's it for the check-in, everyone, with the mixed red worms here on day 200. Yay! And that was feeding number 16 after 16 days. So that's it for the check-in, everyone. Hopefully enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.